I'm a sculptor, mostly portraiture, but I do sort of abstract stuff as well. It all depends on what I'm researching at the time. Often material-led, so if it's a material that I've sourced, I'll research it, and that then often instigates the path that I'll go down. For this project, I've been really lucky that I'm doing this residency in a working quarry, and it's on the bed of the ancestral Thames. The ancestral Thames used to flow right the way across Essex on top of the London Basin, a totally different river to what it is today. It was a huge, what we call a braided river, very fast flowing. It was created by all the glacial ice melt, so lots of water, powerful water, bringing all these rocks, pebbles and sands from huge distances over thousands and thousands of years. The quarry is excavating the gravels and sands for the building trade and infrastructure.
Right.
But for someone like me, it's just a treasure trove of rocks that I'm thinking, well, where's that from? Where's that from?
Yeah.
Because no rocks are from Essex. They've all come from somewhere else. I mean, when I first went to the quarry and I was actually standing on the bed of the ancestral Thames, it was very overwhelming because I thought, oh, you know, this is 500,000 years old. So I went to London and I stood on the foreshore and I thought, oh my goodness, look at the contrast of the Thames foreshore now as to how it was.
Yeah, I mean, I recognise this stuff.
Calming, cool. You can imagine the ice coming off the glaciers. And then here you've got the Industrial Revolution, you've got man, you've got pottery, you've got pipes.
Yeah.
You've got this modern history, or also what we call now the Anthropocene. And then, of course, I was fascinated by the objects people were finding within this. So, I mean, I was finding amazing rocks that I got a bit excited about, but then mudlarkers are finding all these little faces. And of course, as a portrait artist, I thought, wow, this is amazing. So I first had the inkling as a sculptor that I wanted to recreate these faces, these found faces from the foreshore, to be life-size sculptures, to present them as equal to us, if you like, rather than the trinket. Some of them I've recreated exactly the same, or tried to. Others I've interpreted slightly different. So, for example, the two-dimensional salt glaze.
Oh, the cherub.
He, of course, is just fairly flat, pressed into a mould. So again, to give him his voice and character, he's now three-dimensional with ears and a little pudding bowl haircut.
I'm just going to go and look at his ears.
He hasn't got.
So he hasn't got ears on here.
No, he hasn't got ears there.
So this is a Mudlark's find. This is it
it's
Richard Henry's find here.
Yeah.
So it's part of a salt glazed
jug.
Salt glazed
jug, yeah.
And I love this creature, this little character with his arms. So these finds made bigger, large, they are part of your new body of work called Foreshore Foundlings.
That's correct,
right?
yes. So for me, this isn't about recreating the object just to make them bigger. It's about a much wider body of work to connect the tidal Thames with the ancestral Thames.
Right.
So the rocks are also my foreshore foundlings, but they're from a different layer in history. For me, it's about the umbrella is the Thames.
Right.
These go down in a thin layer of history.
Hundreds of years.
Contemporary history.
Up to 2,000.
Up to 2,000 years. Whereas these objects go right back for millions of years. I knew nothing about geology, rocks, or anything until I went into the quarry. And again, I knew very little about history in general, but just through creating these objects, I've learnt so much.
Oh, you have actually. You've taught me some things as well. Shamefully, I didn't know much about Wellington either.
He was the hardest one to sculpt because unlike the little cherub that was two-dimensional, I've kept this one because he's a relief. I've not made him three-dimensional, as in I've given him a back. Because if I did that, I would just be replicating the Duke of Wellington, whereas here it was really important to replicate the fragment because it had everything in it that I wanted. It was enough.
You've put him next to these. They're a bit cannonball-like, aren't they?
They are, exactly. So I thought, what rock am I going to do with him? And then I suddenly remembered one of the geologists telling me that there are some flints that are like balls and they call them cannonball flints.
Okay.
And I thought, well, what a perfect rock.
May I?
To pair with the Duke of Wellington.
So are these giant nodules?
They are.
Is that what they are?
They're slightly different because flint fills the burrows of sea creatures. These are, as far as I'm aware, they are sea sponges.
Oh, I see.
And the silica settles around them and the sea sponges are inside. But you very rarely get the original sea sponge. But over here, I do actually have. And not many people have seen this, but this one you can see it was hollow.
That's the sea sponge.
That's the sea sponge. I don't know if it's the top or the base, but that's the fossil imprint. But I actually wonder if the surface of the sea sponge has fossilised on there.
That's really interesting.
But for the Duke of Wellington, the pairing of the rocks to connect him with the ancestral Thames was the perfect rock.
And you can see on the Duke of Wellington, you can see your gold. Why do you put the...
Well, so for me, the gold represents highlighting and celebrating the damage as part of the history of the object, which is similar philosophy to work I've done before, which uses the ancient Japanese art called kintsugi to highlight the damage rather than conceal it because it's part of the history of the object.
Right, and so you've done that. I can just see a little bit around here on the Chinese mudman.
He's been more difficult. I'm still umming and ahhing which rock to pair with.
Oh, I see.
Because this, to me, I chose this. This is because he's called a mudman. This is basically fossilised sedimentary silt, so it's mud in itself. However, the other thing I'm considering as well is the fact that the Chinese, we've got connections with the silk and the spice trade. So I love this idea of paths and crossed boundaries. So these veined quartz rocks here, there's something there that could be connected. That leads us nicely on to the pilgrim badge.
Oh, my favourite, easily my favourite.
So this is Thomas Becket, who I only knew his name because my grandfather's name was Charles Thomas Becket. But I didn't realise who he was.
About the murder in the cathedral?
No, but I do now. And honestly, I've learnt so much. And then, of course, all these pilgrimages to Canterbury Cathedral.
And pilgrim badges are obviously like a big sought-after find on the Thames. Everyone wants to find pilgrim badges.
This was great because I just looked under the magnifying glass to see the decoration on there and the little face and reinterpreted it. And the rock actually was quite easy for me for this because of this idea of pilgrimage. So this is a piece of Welsh igneous rock.
Gosh, that's beautiful.
And it's folded, so you can see when it was, possibly when it was lava. And I've had it again, diamond cut and polished, so you can see that.
That's my favourite one, I think.
So to me here, there's a journey there, there's a path.
So I've noticed the rock with the memento mori looks a bit different from the other.
Yes, so this again, when I worked out which rock to use, was a perfect rock for it. So this is the memento mori bead. Hand carved in bone, medieval.
Beautiful.
Incredible find. And we were saying about this was the thing that started me off on this journey of sculpting portraits. But because this is about life and death, the living, and you know, we're only here for a short period of time.
Remember, you will die.
Of course, the rock had to have been a living thing to start with. So this is petrified wood, fossilised wood. So it was a living object.
Which is now...
And it died, ended up in a bog or something to preserve it. You can tell it that it's different from rocks because when it's cut open you get these oranges and reds and yellows in there.
I mean, it really
which
comes
you can
alive
see.
again, doesn't it?
And to me, they're like a family.
Right.
You know, all of them, the rocks included, they are a family. They've all come from the Thames. Each one has, to me, its own personality, not in just the subject, but also the way it was made. While I'm making it, I often put myself in the shoes of the original maker. When I see mudlarkers with their finds, they are totally in awe of that find. They want to research it, they want to look after it. They are the custodian of that object until someone else, either it gets lost again, someone else. You know, it's all temporary custodianship.
Yeah.
But for me, it was also this relationship of the object to the mudlarker rather than the mudlarker to the object. So does an object have agency? You know, that object gives back to the mudlarker as much as the mudlarker does with their research and the cleaning, the nurturing, the looking after it, the showing of it. This is my sort of challenge by researching the work is, and by presenting them as life-size, it's then having its own voice speaking back to us.
Yeah.
You know, I've given them not power, I would say, but a place amongst us.
It's the best place in the world to be. It's the most peaceful, joyous, wonderful place in the world. Up there you've got all these people running around. Look at those people going across the bridge. There's a T.S. Eliot poem, and it's something about the crowd flowed over London Bridge. So many I had not thought death had undone so many. And it was going back and forwards to work every day. Whereas down here, just a few feet away, you can just be still. You know, I tried yoga. Oh my gosh. They say clear your mind, and I would be lying there thinking about what shopping I had to do or what was having for dinner. But and it didn't work. The yoga didn't work. So you come down here, and I didn't know anyone when I first came. And so you just come down here, and all you're aware of is your own breathing. You can come down here, and there's nobody around, just you, and all the ghosts and the spirits of the past. So it's just the place to just listen to your breathing, get your brain just completely not thinking about anything. You're just physically looking, and you're picking stuff up, and you're wondering, what is it? What is it? You're wondering what is it and why and what did it do and who held it before me? And you kind of just imagine that if you just pick something up and you're the first person to have picked it up in 600 years, that's freaking, isn't it? That blows your mind.
I didn't realise it was a real thing. I didn't realise there was a name for it. An old boyfriend years ago brought me down here, and I found a bit of clay pipe and then thought no more about it, which is really strange because of my other interests, you know. I like finding things in general. I like collecting and archiving. So I like junk shops, antiquarian bookshops. Anything that I can get a bit obsessive about in a collecting kind of way. But it's definitely to do with identity and placing things. So it's like sense of place, what came before us, which kind of informs what might come ahead of us. And to a certain point, like security and knowing who you are in the world and how you relate to other people and things in the world. Obviously, it's nice to be down here because you're experiencing the River London at a different level. You know, it's like a real kind of liminal zone. It's like time stops, but you're on the past, you're on the present. You're just like on the edge of what was and what is. It's a different experience of London. It's like another world.
Yesterday I was round at me working at Dad's house, Mum and Dad's house. To come in, he's like, face gone like that, he's like, lost my wedding ring. You lost it round the person who's probably like, if anyone's going to come across it, it'll be me. I said to him, I'll come back Monday with his detection, I'll go through the garden where you've been asking about, and then I was just about to leave and I put that paint up, picked the paint up, walked into the shed, put the paint down next to the ring. I was just like, oh, went in there, gave it to him, he was in tears. And then my mum went, because my dad went, and I was like, pull yourself together, Simon. I was like, right, there you go. Yeah, I was so happy though to find it, because obviously Daddy married 50 years, and when my granddad died, him and his twin brother, they cut their wedding rings in half and had them melted into their own wedding rings. So it was like, it's double bad. Like, he was like, my dad's in that ring as well. And then when I found it, it's all like happy days. So I got about 1 million texts last night of them saying, oh, I'm so glad you found it. I hope I haven't lucked out finding that bit of gold. But I'd rather come here and find nothing than obviously my dad had.
For some reason, when you're down here, you don't really think. You're concentrating on something, so you don't really, no, you don't think too much, which is quite nice, because it's bad to think, so sometimes. So yeah, no, it's actually a complete escape coming down here, because you're focusing on tide and what you're finding, and I once caught an eel. But then you also find dead rats with no hair, and they're all bloated and pink, and and are big, like cats. That is by far the worst thing I've found. And you know what the thing is? I found it, and then the wave came in, and it went away, and where was it? Where did it go?
I actually grew up on a farm, and on the farm there was quite a few places where there's barrows and like Iron Age kind of settlements and stuff. And people will be coming and asking whether they can metal detect on that and stuff, but it's not. It's protected, it's protected sites. You're not allowed just to go down there. So in some respects, this should be treated, in the same way, or with the same amount of respect. But so my dad ran the farm. He wasn't necessarily a landowner, but there was no detecting on the farm. So, and he would always just say no. I mean, I wanted to go down there and do it when I was like a kid, because they actually dug up a road through one of the fields. But yeah, Dad wouldn't let me go down there and dig up. So maybe that's where some of this comes from as well.
I mean, we're just like a grain of sand, aren't we? Just the time that we've got on this planet, sounding like an old bogey now, but just the time that we've got on the planet, it's just so temporary. And, you know, when you've got kids and you're working full time, and you just start to think, I'm not religious, like, I don't believe in any God or anything like that, and so you just think, well, people have gone before. And when my friend Bobby died, I was just thinking, she would have loved this, because she just loved history. And so it's great I can find something and I can think, normally I would take a photo and send it to Bobby, but now I would just think, Bobby would have loved that. So
It's not the city I don't like anymore. It's the people have changed. Like when I came to London 20 years ago, it was vibrant, it was cool, everyone was very accepting. But now I think it's uncaring, and I think it's the reverse of cliquey. I think it's everyone for themselves. It's almost extreme. You can come down here and there's that lady down there, I said hello to her, she didn't even say hello back. That's weird, I find that odd. But then again, most of the people who come down mudlarking are much nicer. We all need a bit of solitude at times, and a break from work, and I have quite a large team and things like that. But that doesn't reflect that London can be a lonely place. But that's the same for everyone. So, and I'm not lonely, by the way.
best bit actually is I haven't told them I'm a school teacher. Nobody asks you when you come here, when you got a garden party, go to them, and they ask you, oh, what do you do? They don't. They just say, have you found anything nice, or how you doing? Nobody asks you what your social class is. Nobody cares if you're male, female, straight, gay, pansexual, anything. They just want to know what have you found. And I haven't got much money, and I'm into reading, and I'm into research, and I'm into learning. So this really helps me to learn, and it's been such a joy coming down and meeting so many lovely people. They just know so much, honestly. You can teach them so much. It's like being a student again. The best thing that helps you understand is what a load of nonsense that racist white people who support Brexit and all that kind of thing are, because everywhere I look around this foreshore, I see evidence from wave after wave of migration, wave after wave of trade in other countries, other cultures. I see exploitation that Britain has done in terms of colonialism. I find slave beads. You find sugar, tobacco. The pipes that I find, I love them. They're absolutely beautiful. They're beautifully made. But why did they get bigger? Why was tobacco suddenly more popular and cheaper? Why? Because slave trade. Basically all about other cultures, and you learn so much about other cultures, and you learn to value other cultures, and you learn about our history. So that's my main thing that I take away from it, is about what a wonderful society we are, what dreadful history we've had at times, and how amazing it is to have a culturally rich society.
Here we are with your friend and mine. You'll know her. It's Nicola, Tideline Art. Here she is in all her glory. So I just wanted to talk to Nicola about a few of her finds because there are some amazing ones. Can we talk about this?
This, yeah.
And what this is exactly?
Okay, it's one of my favourite finds from this year, if not my actual favourite.
Yeah.
It's a log slate from the HMS Merlin, so a magical find as well.
That's magical Merlin.
Yeah,
that's
magical
unbelievable.
Merlin. And so we think, it's been registered with Museum of London now, but we think that it dates to maybe 1760 to 1820.
Wow.
And it would have been where on deck and everything that was going on, the wind course, the weather, and any remarks would have been
So it's engraved, etched, permanently etched. So it's not like a chalk and stuff.
No, this is etched, but they would have written in chalk.
Because that's been etched there. What's that?
That's PM, I think. So there was probably another one for the morning. But at the end of the day, they would have wiped the slate clean. But the captain would have approved what was ever on there, and it would have been transferred into the paper logbook.
I heard something about this.
And then wipe the slate clean.
Wipe the slate clean. I heard something about the paper logbook. Someone who met you recently and was really excited. So we're going to be at the museum. We're going to be at the National Maritime Museum next week. Nick will be exhibiting there. I'll be exhibiting there. Ben from the museum told me, like, he met you. He was so excited. Yeah. He's got paper records corresponding to this boat?
I went to the archives at the Maritime Museum and I looked at several really old logbooks from the 18th century corresponding to the HMS Merlin. Whether or not it was that one, we don't know, but there are several.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because the logbooks I was looking at, the HMS Merlin spent time at Deptford Dockyard and Woolwich.
And you can see where they've had their refits and that kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So I've actually taken lots of photos, and during my talk, actually, I'm talking about it. So but I know that Ben was interested, and he was going to have a look and see if he could find something that matched this style.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating. And what I always trip up on things like boat names, boats being taken apart, then the name being reused.
Yes.
So like I'll find something for HMS whatever, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but then there'll be various boats or various ships with that same name.
Yeah.
And they've been taken apart, and then the name's been given to another ship anyway. So yeah, that's the amazing.
It's really beautiful. It's just that beautiful script on it there.
Yeah.
And you know the fact that somebody did that. I've
just noticed something. I've only ever seen one of these once before.
Oh right. Yeah.
So
beautiful, isn't it?
A girl that came last year to St Paul's. You went there? No, you went there. She'd found one, and she said she was pulling it out of the mud. So it was just that bit, and she was pulling it out just that bit, and it kept coming, and there was the whole fish on it. Yeah, really cool.
It's stunning, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is quite interesting as well. This is a lead line, and it was used for swinging the lead to fathom out the
like a plumb line?
Yeah, that's right. And it's really heavy.
Can I?
Yeah, of course. Don't drop it on your toe.
Oh my goodness. Oh, and there's an arrow. A
broad arrow. Yeah, it's covered in broad arrows. And at the bottom, there's a bit there which would have had tallow wax in. So when they dropped it down to get the depth of the sea, it also picked up something from the sea bed so they could analyse where they were. And that's where the saying, trying to fathom something out, comes from. Because it's to measure the fathoms of the sea.
That's incredible. What an incredible... Is this relatively new or
recent?
It's
a new find. It's from the 19th, probably.
No, I mean, is it a new find?
Oh, yes, it is, yeah.
Oh, that is so cool.
I almost didn't bring it today because, to be honest, I came over, I pulled my suitcase along on the train and it was so heavy, but I thought, no, I have to bring it.
You've got to bring it.
Yeah.
Do you want to feel how heavy that is?
It's very, very, very heavy.
Well.
Very
I'll
heavy.
See how heavy that is? Can I?
It's very heavy.
Yeah.
They used to have lead swingers that used to literally swing the lead and then measure the depth of the sea.
So you've got some sheaves. Oh, one attached to a block still.
Yes, that's a recent find,
nice
actually.
one. Blimey,
Yeah.
you got some good chunky finds going on here.
Well, I wanted to bring my copper sheathing, which was obviously, it was done by the Admiralty, copper bottomed all their ships from the
there we go,
broad arrow, from
Yeah.
the mid 18th century to stop the barnacles from growing on it, to make them go faster, to protect from ship rot, shipworm and salt corrosion. And then also that's where they're saying when something is copper bottomed, like your plan,
copper bottomed,
bottomed, because the ships were nice and reliable and copper bottomed. So there's so many sayings.
So many. And look, you've got broad arrows over these.
Yeah, this is my favourite, I think, these ones here, because that's probably a really early one.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that broad arrow, which denotes government property.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's I found a leather shoe sole, the vamp of a shoe, and it's got a broad arrow mark in it.
fantastic.
And I thought it just didn't register with me at first. I thought, it's just it's where the tailor's telling his apprentice to cut, because it points right to the vamp. It doesn't go away from the shoe; it goes up to the stitching. And then eventually someone said, oh no, it's a broad arrow. It's probably from one of the prison holds. It might be a prisoner's shoe.
Oh, amazing, yes.
And I thought, of course, their entire uniforms were covered in broad arrows, weren't they, on prison uniforms?
Yeah, well, I've got some convict tokens, actually.
Oh, convict tokens.
Yeah, these two here, they're different to these tags here.
My goodness me.
These were... The convicts could actually change these at the store to redeem supplies or whatever, these particular. And on both sides they've got the...
So do you think these are from prison hull?
Yes, yeah.
These are incredible. Wow. You see, the thing is, when we do these exhibitions, we spend so long at our own station that we don't go and see everyone else's stuff.
And talking of prison hulks,
I've seen this before.
Yeah, this is W. Gailey, and he was sentenced to 7 years for stealing a duck.
So the last time I saw this, you didn't know what it was?
Yeah, no, it's been registered. Stuart's registered it now, and we found William Gailey, because I thought it was Cayley, and Stuart said, no, it's Gailey, and it's a William Clark alias Gailey.
So it's back to front because
yes,
it would have been...
that's right, and he was sentenced to 7 years on the prison hull. Yeah, for duck stealing. Yeah, for stealing a duck.
My goodness me. Well, thank you. I mean, we've only scratched the surface. You've also got your plasticies
I've
and
got
your
a file
bottles.
of messages in bottles.
Oh yeah, so you probably know this already, but Nicola is really well known for finding messages in bottles as well. So, I mean, we can't read them all, but these are what? Do you think 100?
I've got about 130.
Yeah. Okay, that counts as hundreds.
Yeah, quite a lot.
Oh look, and so you found all these from Pirate Sam. I remember some of these. And some of them are really sad, aren't they?
I know, yeah, some of them are sad. Some of them are happy, some of them are very contemplative.
Yeah, I remember one about a girl and her sister. I think.
Yeah, that's right. I found one which actually contained the ashes of a young lady who died, and the sister had put them in the river because the sister who died suddenly was about to embark on a world voyage sailing around the world. So she thought that by putting a few of the ashes in a bottle, it was like her sister was able to travel.
That will fulfill the journey that she had planned.
And I kind of wished afterwards, I've got to be honest, that I had said to her that I found them in Spain or something, and I hadn't, I found them in Greenwich, and she put them in at Hammersmith or something. And I sort of thought, and then I told her this, and she said, oh, that's typical Claire. She loved London way too much to leave.
Oh, that's wonderful. And what did you do with them in the end? Did you send them away again?
No, what we did was we scattered them in the river, and weirdly, then a seal jumped out that day.
Oh my goodness.
Our dog. Yeah.
That's
so it was quite
gorgeous.
special. Thinking about it, I wonder if I should have maybe put them back in, but
No, well, what can you do? I'm sure she's journeying on.
I met the sister.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure she was really happy about it. It's a lovely story.
But it's surprising how many people actually do say goodbye to people in messages in bottles. It's like channeling all this emotion into a bottle and then letting the river take it away.
There we go. Wow. Thank you very much, Nick.
Okay.
We can use the word loss and understand it as a physical thing, like we've lost our keys. But we can also understand the word loss as a feeling. Now, we don't have a word in the English language for the feeling of find. For people who are above the river and cross it, they may half notice it. There's actually a lot of people that don't even realise the river is tidal. The tide rises and lowers by as much as 7 metres every tide. That's the same as a 2-storey house.
Everything's heightened, I think, once you get down onto the foreshore, because you're seeing London from a different perspective. You are seeing buildings, the moon, the sun at a completely different angle.
It's like a completely different world. The object might have been hidden for hundreds and hundreds of years, and I come along, walking on the foreshore, and suddenly it's there. I think everyone has that experience in their life of finding something that's lost. Finding happens after a period of searching, and sometimes that search is very clear and straightforward. Down there on the foreshore, the search is much more open-ended, and we're not even sure what we're looking for most of the time.
A little bit of furnishing.
Yep.
Thames estuary, do you reckon?
It's got to be, hasn't it?
Oh, it's been to the dentist.
Teeth are falling out. Uh-oh. That is seriously old, isn't it? Are the teeth in there?
Yeah. Not a bad day, all in all.
I discovered I had a growth on my brain when I started having countless seizures. And the wonderful medical team that were looking after me booked me in to have an operation that was going to remove this lesion on my brain. And once I got home, all I could think was, when am I going out? When am I going out mudlarking? And it was the thinking and dreaming of mudlarking was the thing that got me through. I had to learn to walk again and talk again because I couldn't really get a sentence together. I'd think one thing and something else would come out. It was a very strange experience. But the worst thing was not being able to walk properly, getting one foot in front of the other. I've had to relearn all of these things. I've made some wonderful friends along the river. Little Jo Cook, really, she kept an eye on me. Jo would call up and say, oh, I'm going to go out and do you fancy to come along? And she'd come and pick me up, bless her. Because after that op, my eyesight wasn't particularly good, nor was my mobility, but it was just so nice getting out.
Do you not want it?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Yay! That's really nice, thank you. Oh, it's made my day.
At least we know by picking up plastic, we're cleaning up the tin. When I went out for my last mudlark before I had my op, I found a beautiful yellow marble. And when I went out for my first mudlark after my op, the first thing I found was a beautiful green marble. And that has significance to me that I was back on track.
Just over 3 years ago, my wife passed away and I was a little bit lost. One day I see the people on the foreshore and I walked up to a man and I was taking the mickey really, because I went up to him and said, Tony Robinson, what have you found? And he put his hand in his pocket and just pulled out this pottery and he just proceeded to tell me Roman, medieval, Georgian, and it just blew my mind away. It just got me thinking and I just thought maybe I should get a licence and give it a go. I mean, it's just getting right down close to the foreshore and concentrating. It brings into focus the real small things that are down there that you would normally just not know are there as you're walking up and down. I keep telling you, stop finding Elizabeth I coins.
We'll have something else.
It was a groat, wasn't it?
Yeah, half groat.
Half groat.
A split second that it might be an Edward, but alas.
Can you see her on it, can you? And when my wife passed away, we scattered her ashes in the ocean off of Cape Verde. I said at the time, she's everywhere in the world because she's in the ocean. And I still feel that now when I'm by the Thames. There is a nice peace that the river brings me and to my grief over the years, and it's helped me a hell of a lot.
I know that a lot of mudlarks down there, maybe especially of a certain age like me, have dealt with loss. It's not straightforward. It doesn't make up for something. I also know that there is some sense of rescue for these objects. There's a phrase that mudlarks use. They say, well saved. If that mudlark hadn't come along at that particular moment in time and taken it, it would have been lost. I think it's some sort of reassurance that some things persist, that not everything is lost and falling apart.
And I do say that I don't find the things, they find me. I just can't understand how 1 minute it's not there and the next minute it's there.
Okay, here we are. Someone else you probably know from other videos, like Nicola's videos. It's Monika, Mudlark Thames on Instagram, and her really amazing, like heavy duty finds that Yeah, I think I'm just going to ask you a few questions about
go for it.
Are you excited to talk about your Eufro?
Ah, the Eufro. I love my Eufro. Here we go. The Eufro is this little piece here.
What is a Eufro exactly?
A Eufro, it comes from the Dutch word meaning a junge vrouw.
A young woman.
Young woman. It's a bit of a play on words because this is a bit of ship's rigging. And it initially would have had ropes coming out of all these holes in a kind of V shape, which actually look a bit like crow's feet on a lady's eyes.
Oh.
And the reason why it's called a
young vrouw
is because it comes up to the crow's nest on a ship.
Oh,
so if you look at the crow's nest, it would look after the rigging, the top of the rigging here on the crow's nest. So I particularly love the Jungfrau because I've never seen anyone else find a Jungfrau. It's quite unusual.
And what a story. So it's the eyes of the crows.
Yeah, the crow's feet on there.
The crow's feet
and
eyes.
It's that kind of little bit of poignancy, the Jungfrau, old Frau.
Yeah.
It's lucky it survived because being oak and being in the water for that long, it should have decayed.
It should have.
And our anaerobic mud has saved
you
it.
can see, was this bit sticking out and all of this, was it, how did it?
No, I think it was all deep.
Deep.
I think this is just the timber of the wood. This is probably a darker timber and this is probably a lighter bit.
As it is,
I don't think it's actually from exposure.
Yeah.
I think it had been in the deep mud for quite a while when I found it to have survived it.
Preserved, yeah.
So the other wooden bits I love are these ones here, which are the dog bones, which are quite fun. So these
one up?
You can.
Oh, they're heavy, aren't they?
They're quite heavy, yeah.
Dog bones. What did they?
So the dog bones that you would use them when you were tying a knot on rigging. You would shove a dog bone in there to hold the knot from unslipping.
You know what?
Then you'd use one of these, a marlin spike, to undo the knot and get your dog bone out again.
Do you know what? I think you may have sold something.
You've got some of those at home.
Well, do you know Alessio has got those bones with marks on exactly like this?
So they'd be dog bones. Yeah.
They would, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
So what we were trying to work out for months what these things were.
You should have asked me.
We did a special. Yeah, I know. You probably asked me about everything else. And we did a special on these bones. If you've seen it, it's Bones episode 1, I think. And we spoke to zoo archaeologists, we spoke to loads of people, and they said they were probably, because there's rope wear on them, you can see it, and they said it was probably for wherrymen when they tied up their boats.
So you'd have a slip knot and you'd put the dog bone in to stop the knot coming undone.
So you're saying it is. So someone else saw it the other day. No, someone... This is very inaccurate, but someone said to Alessio, no, definitely isn't that. And this someone was like a lecturer or something, blah, blah, blah.
I love the dog bones. It's the shape of it. And I love the fact they're called dog bones as well.
Bones. Yeah,
if you ask anyone American, they think that they are building blocks because they make log cabins in America out of things very similar to that.
Yeah.
So Americans always think that, and they've got a name which they're not. They're British dog bones.
Where are we going to go now?
And this one is really exciting as well. This timber here, I absolutely love, is a piece of Tudor oak. It would have been a timber from the side of one of the great ships.
Wow.
And what I love about this one is you can see the tree nails. These three here are called tree nails. The shorter name is Trennel. But it comes from a tree nail as opposed to an iron nail. Because when you have a great ship travelling to Iceland or the Caribbean, the different temperatures would cause the wood to expand.
To shrink and expand.
If you had an iron nail, that never shrinks and expands and would split the wood.
But the tree nails,
grow with and shrink with the wood. So I love them. And this lump of wood here, I particularly love because it's a trenail that I found on its own. So obviously as they've decommissioned a ship, this one's fallen out. And most people just think it's a lump of wood. But if you see the way it's planed, it's been worked. It's definitely a trenail. It's been cut off at the appropriate lengths. So
I have to smell everything.
Yeah, I've preserved it.
Is that you that's made it smell so lovely? It smells delicious.
And that's been preserved in a special fluid that basically prevents it from shrinking back. So I'm quite chuffed with it, but it's mega expensive.
That's really cool.
And we've got chunks of copper bottom boats. So hence the expression of copper bottom.
We've done a copper bottom over there as well.
We've done a copper bottom,
we've done a copper bottom over there.
A few copper bottoms.
And these Rolocks.
Oh, the Rolocks are lovely as well.
What a bunch of Rolocks. That's, oh my God, cut that.
And not only the Rolocks, the ones I really like are these, which are the ship lights.
I was going to mention this to you. I think I have before, that prism that I left behind on the Foreshore.
No, you left a ship light behind. Don't worry, where
because
I found it.
I thought, no, it was a long one, so it's like quite, not, I don't think it's got that
So
much
I think the long
age.
ones, I think are the ones they use on barges.
Yeah.
I think the old-fashioned sailing
These are
ships
proper
use
ships,
those ones.
Fascinating.
If you hold that up to the light, though, you can actually see
prism.
the prism. You can see how it shines on either
and it
side.
reflects, yeah.
So if that was in a deck like that, the sun would be coming down there and it would be shining down on the floor below. I'm waiting to get 4 more, then I'll have enough to make a circle. Because at the moment I've got a half circle.
Like little cheeses.
Yeah, cheeses, exactly.
Cheeses. And
we have a bit of horsehair and horseshoes as well. I love the fact that the horses were they were the engines of London.
Yeah,
basically.
Absolutely. You're the horse lady.
I do like my horses.
I've said it before.
And I've put that picture there just to make you realise just what a tough life the horses had working in London.
Yeah.
And how tired and knackered they were. And by the time they'd finished their working life, their bodies were used for everything. Tails were used.
Skin,
glue,
everything.
Yeah. There's a lovely chart you can get that tells you all the different parts of a dead horse and what they were used for and how much they cost per pound, which is quite horrendous. And then we've got the horseshoes as well.
Oh yeah,
which just shows you how big. You can imagine these big old Shire horses.
Do you think they're Shire horses?
And some of them, they probably have got like knock knees because of hard work, which means that they're wearing their hooves on one side.
Yeah, like you might see in shoes from someone with rickets.
So this is basically an orthopedic shoe made by a blacksmith to even out the horse's wonky stead. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So initially I thought it was just wear, but then I thought no, it's been
done
purposely built. And this is a blacksmith's file. And I de-rusted that one. It's perfect. It's
I like a bit
perfect.
of blacksmith stuff because on my dad's side they are generations of blacksmiths.
Oh, wow.
And they lived. My dad grew up in a forge for the first little bit of his life. Yeah. An old forge in Hertfordshire, and I think it's like 3-4 generations.
Oh wow!
And they ran the post office as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, this is good.
It's really interesting. I'll send you some information. There's loads online. They're a really old Hertfordshire family.
The guy who made my replacement arrowhead, you know, the Norman arrow I've got, and he made the replacement arrowhead. He's got a blacksmith's forge in Hertfordshire somewhere. And it absolutely amazing. But his anvil got stolen. Somebody broke in.
They are really, I'm not surprised.
And he had it
thousands,
heartbreaking.
Where is your arrow? You haven't brought it this time.
I didn't bring any of my medieval, my Tudor. I'll bring all that to St.
the
Paul's.
Oh, so you've gone with the theme.
I've gone just with the theme. I've stuck with the river, the working river.
Now this is something I didn't say. So basically, because Monika's got such a plethora of finds, you can actually stick to the themes that we've given
pretty much
the different exhibitions. So this one is working river and
just working river basically.
So hence all the working river stuff here. I've chucked everything from my slightly less full collection. I've just chucked everything in.
We have got a little bit of play, so we've got a few bottles. We've got a mouth organ, a Jaws harp, not mouth organ. Later in the day here, barrel tap, and we've got a syphilis syringe. So we do allow a little bit of fun as well.
We got a bit of syphilis syringe.
If shoving mercury up your willy is considered fun.
I mean, I think it was fun. Seemed like a good idea at the time.
It probably seemed like a good idea at the time. We've had fun.
Oh, thank you, Monika. There we go.
Welcome. You're very welcome.
Monika Thames on Instagram
and
Facebook.
River Thames Mudlarking Finds.
River Thames Mudlarking Finds. There we go.
And Foreshore Finds.
And Foreshore.
Yeah.
Hello mudlarking friends, and welcome to another episode of Tide Travelling with Old Father Thames. Now this area we're in today was once known as the King's Dockyard, and that is because in 1513 King Henry VIII oversaw the building of London's first royal docks in this area. It was actually the Royal Dockyard, but known as the King's Dockyard. And this is where Royal Navy vessels were built. Now later on, it turned into something different. We see the East India Company setting up shop here, and they were obviously sending vessels out for trade in the East Indies. In fact, L.M. Bates, in writing in his book about the Thames, he actually says this is the true spot from where England's colonisation of huge parts of the world started. So that's where we are now. We also see here, as well as sailing ships being built, further along there was a company called the General Steam Navigational Company. Now they were building paddle steamers and cruisers. So the GSNC were the first people to do paddle steamers day tripping out from London to Margate in Kent. So they had these pleasure boats, but they also had cargo boats, and they were importing cattle and sheep from mainland Europe. And now the GSNC then later went on to become P&O. So this area is full of history, full of stories. I always say this area is full of history because it's the Thames, right? And it's all going on down here. But a couple of other little fun facts. Sir Francis Drake was knighted here, and that was aboard the Golden Hind. It's also said to be the place where he laid down his cloak for Queen Elizabeth I to cross a puddle. Aha! Right, so I've stopped in this area because I keep finding chunky, worn bits. I'm not quite sure what they are, to be honest. I found this, thought it was, some kind of industrial or electrical related item, perhaps even related to insulators, GPO insulators maybe, not sure. This big chunk of, don't know, some kind of masonry, but I've got my pockets full already, and I'm just going to show you what I've found so far in this area. Again, another really chunky bit of something. Honestly, I don't know, but we'll put them down here. Now on to things I do know, some worn pipes. So there's an 18th century pipe, and we've got a little baby one as well. Now this is a lot earlier. So this is 18th to 19th. There's some initials on there. E, S, so we might be able to work out who that is. And here, just to show you the difference, this is a 17th century pipe. So very late 1600s going into the 1700s. And you can just see, as tobacco became more widely available and a little bit more affordable, the pipe bowl went up in size. Now they're very worn, and that's because we're in this area here that's full of stone and shingle and building debris. Found a bit of bone with a marking on there. And let's see what else is in the pocket. There was, now this, not sure, so we're going to skirt over that. This is a really lovely piece of pottery. I'm going to have to check out exactly what that is, and then I will put the details up on the screen. I just want to double check something about it, but that is a really lovely piece. I'll do a comparison with a complete piece, and you can see the patterns and markings. So that's what we've got for this area so far. I'm just going to continue having a little look around here. I don't expect to find anything in real pristine condition because, as I say, it's really stony. But you know, I love these bits I found so far, and it's just giving me a clue as to work out the area and see what we might be able to find. Okay, let's go. These little patches here are always quite good to have a dig about in, even if they look a bit sparse. There's often something lurking. Oh, hang on. Oh, that's nice. Okay. I'm really pleased with this. This is a super piece of English Delftware. This is tin glazed Delftware. You can see the biscuity kind of fabric of the body there, and this enameled tin glaze on top, both sides. But why I love this piece is because of this beautiful yellow, and you can clearly see here that there is a flower of some kind. I want to call it a daisy, I'm not sure if it is, but lots of floral motifs here, a little leaf there and another sprig. So I'm going to do some research with this. Hopefully, with any luck, I will be able to find a complete piece or one near enough complete to show you what it would have looked like. But there you go, always worth checking the little patches. Swannies! This is something really exciting. I've seen one online and it's mid-17th century. Now, look, this could be later, but let's just say it isn't. I don't know if it's complete, it might just be a fragment. I think it's a bronze cauldron. And as I say, I've seen one very similar online. Oh, okay, so it's not intact. All right, it's in fragments. I have actually got a fragment of one of these at home, but it's even got the very same handle, the one that I am talking about online, which I will reference on here. So, part of it. There's another bit. Okay. I'm just going to have a little dig in here, make sure I can't feel any more of it. All right, there's the impression of the cauldron there, and there's nothing else in there. Backfill this hole slightly. Okay, here we go. So I was hoping it was going to be the entire thing. It's not, but you know me, I'm going to get this cleaned up and then we'll see where we are. Now, where was that in the... Ah, there we go. And then there's the little leg. So I think it's a tripod cauldron. So we'll get this cleaned up and put together. Don't want to scrape out anything that is important there. There we go. Part of a cauldron. And I love this handle, look at that. All right, well, I love this. This is a real winner for me. I keep saying it, but let's see it later on when it's all put together. I'm gonna have a look around here and see if I can find some more fragments. There might be more to this around here. So come on, let's go and have a look. But as I'm saying that, something has caught my eye here. Now, you know how much I like bone. You know how much I pick bone up, and for 6 years I've been looking for a pinner's bone. Whenever I see a bone that's been cut like this, I am hopeful. Let's try and get this out and see what we've got. No way! Look at that. Now that is, if I'm not mistaken, unless they're just little cuts, that is a pinner's bone. We'll get it cleaned up. You can see the notches there where pins were laid into this and then sharpened. So the pinners would use this to sharpen the wire given to them or bought from them by the wire drawers. Yeah, it's a pinner's bone. I am over the moon with this. I'll get it cleaned up and then we'll stick it up on the screen so you can see that. I mean, it's not a fantastic one, but it's a start. It's the start of my pinner's bone collection. It's just got 1, 2, 3 notches. I think it's been broken here. 1, 2, 3 notches, 4th round there. It's been worked beautifully. So, you know, it's a great start to a collection. Another piece of cauldron. So let's see if that fits in with the vessel we found over there. I've got a feeling it's slightly different. I mean, let's go and check this out and see if it fits with the other bits we've got over there. Okay, here we go. I think that possibly is a different vessel. Might be a bit mad, but look, you see this one? It's got 2 rings here, these circles. This one's got 1. It seems like a bit of a wider circumference as well, like it had a wider circumference. And I'll see you next time for Tide Travelling with Old Father Thames.